where migrants are soon released after being caught on video attacking police, just introduced a preloaded debit card program providing truckloads of $10,000 debit cards for migrants with no ID checks, no restrictions, and no fraud control. This does raise a few questions about the potential for abuse and misuse of taxpayer funds, especially when New Yorkers are some of the most heavily taxed people on the planet. A recent audit by the New York Comptroller's Office uncovered that New York taxpayers have been overcharged millions of dollars due to non-competitive contracts for services for these illegal immigrants, which has resulted in price gouging. It's been called a, quote, open-ended, multi-billion-dollar Bermuda Triangle of disappearing untraceable cash. What are the long-term implications of such policies? How do they impact those who seek better lives here, but who follow a path to legally live, work, and come here? And how will these policies impact current residents? Most of the immigrants crossing won't have the documentation to work above board, and we can assume most will be beholden to one cartel or another. No doubt many will be forced into sex and drug trafficking. Laken Riley was a 22-year-old nursing student at the University of Georgia. Her suspected attacker and murderer, Jose Antonio Ibarra, is an illegal immigrant who entered the U.S. in 2022, was arrested in New York for injuring a child, as well as a motor violation. But, due to New York's sanctuary city laws, was freed before ICE could request custody of him. He then fled to Georgia, where his brother had forged documents which enabled him to wash dishes at UGA, in between being arrested numerous times over the past year, of course. 3 days later, the White House issued a statement saying, quote, people should be held accountable. Oh, we agree, Joe. Who do you think that should be? Exactly. In Maryland, another illegal immigrant who'd been arrested and released multiple times over the past year has been arrested again over the murder of a 2-year-old. The border crisis and the government's handling of it have created a tenuous situation. Has control of the southern border been ceded to the cartels? The fact that many believe so highlights the need for a much more transparent, secure, and law-abiding immigration system in the United States. When people are being violently manipulated, are we truly protecting the well-being of anyone? It's time for stronger leadership and a set of solutions that benefits all parties involved. Are you a citizen? Could you use $10,000? Let us know. Hey, let's talk about the developments at CBS News with their iconic all-seeing eye logo. I'm asking, what does CBS stand for? With the Soviet-style power grab that would make Putin blush, CBS has reportedly seized the files and personal belongings of their now former investigative journalist Catherine Herridge. Herridge was in the middle of investigating the Hunter Biden laptop story when she was let go by CBS as part of a larger firing round, of course. But that wasn't the end of it. The network then proceeded to confiscate her files, her documents, and her personal belongings, including info about confidential sources. Now, I don't know about you, but it sounds like something right out of a Cold War spy novel. The audacity of this move has left many in the journalist community extremely concerned. Lest we forget, she was actively pursuing a story that could bring down the Biden administration. So what does CBS do? They fire her, they seize her property. It's almost like they're trying to cover something up. Just as Herridge was getting closer to the truth, she's suddenly out of a job, and her files are in the hands of a network she was trying to expose. It's very convenient, isn't it? But what can we do about it? Well, for starters, you can not watch CBS News. You can demand they return her files and personal belongings and ask, what does CBS stand for? Confiscating broadcasting stuff? It's time to stand up for journalistic integrity, to preserve what's left of the free press in this country, and get a few answers. Hello? If we don't, who will? Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, stay awesome. That's what Kellogg CEO Jerry Pilnick suggests. Now, Now, we all know cereal is a breakfast staple, often packed with sugar, artificial flavors, and pesticide-laden grains. But Mr. Pilnick seems to think it's an answer to our collective financial woes. He claims that a bowl of cereal with milk and fruit costs less than $1, an affordable option for struggling families. Mr. Pilnick collects a base salary of $1 million plus a juicy $4 million in incentives each and every year. So when he talks about saving money, he may not be on the exact same page as the average American. Some social media users were quick to compare him to Marie Antoinette, with one suggesting to eat the rich instead. Now, I'm not saying cereal for dinner is a terrible idea. It's quick, convenient, and can be a scrumptious treat. But let's not pretend it's the solution to our economic and nutritive woes. The Wall Street Journal also proposed people could save some cash in this economy by simply skipping breakfast, a notion that was also met with abundant criticism. But what's all this fuss? After all, according to government statistics, the U.S. economy is showing growth. The fourth quarter of 2023, the GDP grew by 3.2%, driven by strong consumer spending, exports, and state and local government spending. And they say there's a robust labor market and a low unemployment rate of 3.7% as of December. Consumer spending, which accounts for 70% of U.S. economic activity, grew at a 3% annual pace, October through December, and the U.S. economy grew 2.5% in 2023. Still, somehow, publications are writing articles answering questions about inflation and people not being able to afford this week's groceries. When I talk to folks, most folks don't think that this is a great period of economic growth. But what do you think? Is cereal a viable option for dinner? Or is it just marketing spin for poverty times? Let us know what cereal you enjoy. And be sure to join us next time when we'll discuss, is a hot dog a sandwich? And should kids eat them for breakfast? See you then.
The other thing he said to me, Steve, was that he wants America healed rather than seeing it broken and divided. And he talked about Republicans and Democrats coming together. And regardless of who wins this election, that is something he is fundamentally committed to. He is the head of the National Newspapers Publishers Association, which is a large organization representing some 200 plus newspapers, Black African-American newspapers, representing en masse the African-American community. And he has stated categorically that that is not a monolithically Democratic base. It is Democrat, it is Republican, it is independent. And that is something that people here will have to weigh in on, as well as the Republican side. Ben Chavis, a man who's actually pushing forward the narrative that America is great already, and it will only become stronger and better when all of us can get through this divide. Also recently, Steve, we just spoke to Representative Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. As you know from the history there, another stalwart of the civil rights struggle, the man who also helped get Joe Biden elected into office because of going back to that South Carolina primary when he was running and campaigning to become president. It was Jim Clyburn who saved the candidacy, if you will, of Joe Biden. And he was just telling me right now he is very hopeful for a stronger America. Back to you, Steve.
Kelly, certainly a fascinating slice of history, especially him highlighting the unity that he sees now compared to the convention in 1968. Not many people, that can have that type of lived experience.
Yeah, you're right. And we were able to get that from Ben. And he is so good about making that crystal clear, the differences between 1968 and comparing it to today.
And today's Kelly Wright live at the DNC. Thank you, Kelly. And right now we're going to check back into the feed where we have the Michigan Attorney General, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Here's her speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.